I matched with this young lady on Tinder, right? Basically, we text, we get to know each other a bit, and eventually she invites me over, okay? The reason she's not coming to my place is I have a very weird thing about people at my place, because at that point in time, especially, I've had people like come to my crib unannounced, essentially not break in, but like as close as you can get to breaking in without actually breaking in. I had roommates at the time, right? And sometimes women, like, they would come and somehow just like get into my building, like probably like trail someone in, and then like they would knock on my door, and then my roommates would open the door and let them in, and then I would come home and I would just be like horrified, because I'm like, woman, you're here, I didn't expect you to be here. Made me very afraid to link up with anybody at my crib, because I'm like, they will just pull up unannounced. That's very scary. That's not what I like. I don't want them to do that. However, me linking with this girl, I linked at her place, and I kind of wish we linked at my place. Also, real quick, before I continue with this video, Q&A questions, if you have them, let me know in the comment section, okay? Let me know. Because here's the thing, okay? And there's kind of like a long lead up to this, but something about me, when I'm linking up with someone, I like to give the runaround, okay? I like to make it super difficult, super hard, just, to really make sure they're invested, but also I'm kind of just an uneasy guy. So I'm like, oh, I'm not really sure about you. Like, how's my linkage gonna go? So I'm kind of being difficult. Like, if I'm linking with you and I'm unsure about you, I'm gonna put you in a position where you need to show extra initiative to get involved with me to even get to that point. Like, if I'm linking with you and I'm unsure about you, I'm gonna put you in a position where you need to show extra initiative to get involved with me to even get to that point. Remember, there's this one time I was balancing two links, okay? Like, I didn't know who I was gonna go with, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna walk outside and go where the wind takes me. Like, I'm like, eventually I'm gonna get an answer, okay? But I was texting one of them, and I was telling her like where I was. Like, I was like, oh, I'm downtown, like I'm walking to your place, but I'm lost. Like, I don't know where it is. And she's like, oh, where you at right now? And I told her this restaurant I was at. And she's like, oh, that's not far, blah, 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 blah. However, there was something about it. She didn't give me enough initiative, okay? However, the other girl that I was supposed to see was like, oh, like, yeah, like you should definitely come over. She's like, oh, like I really want to show you like this band that I've been listening to, blah, blah, blah. It's like some nonsense, okay? But it was like, that girl, she showed the initiative. I'm like, okay, she really wants me there, so I'm gonna go with that one. I completely ignored the other one. See what I mean? It's like I'm putting them to a test that like they don't know that they're being tested, and also I know that they're being tested, but I don't really know what the answers are. It's just like, for whatever reason, like I'm gonna find out eventually what it is I want. I don't know, they don't know, but they're gonna do something I'm either gonna like or dislike, and then that's how I decide how I go from there. See, now I know that sounds completely ridiculous and off-putting, but it's something that you can manage when you're an attractive human being, okay? You see women do it all the time, just being complicated for no reason, with like a bunch of dudes or like a couple dudes until they figure out what it is that they want, and it works out for them because they're good looking. It's very important that you as a person know what you can get away with in regards to how attractive you are. Anyways, girl, the story's about, I was giving her the runaround. I was walking downtown like, oh, I'm lost, I don't know where I am. Eventually she finds me, okay? But then when she finds me, she tells me, she's like, oh, if I didn't find you soon, I was just gonna turn around and go home, which kind of puts me off a bit, okay? Because here's the thing, you can think that in your head, but don't say that to me, because now again the initiative is kind of being lowered. I'm like, okay, how determined were you in all reality? It's fine though, she did enough to come see me anyway. So basically we're walking back to her place right now. When we get back to her place, it's low-key like a shack, like literally a shack. And I'm like, I feel like that's something you should tell somebody before they come and see your place. Okay, so now she's too rich. She didn't know what a shack
Not
was.
rich.
So yeah, she is. But basically, like, this is the vibe we're looking at, okay? Again, like wood, kind of small, which the size isn't the problem. But it's
Like if you get kidnapped, that's like where they would like hold you.
yeah, that was very much the vibe, okay? But it was like I went there under my own consent. But it's like, you see why this is like, if you are living in like this kind of place, I'm not, this one kind of looks nice, but like in this kind of place, like
Oh, yeah,
that's
that one
something.
is really nice.
Yeah, it is. But like you warn somebody about that, you know what I
kinda
mean?
like-
So yeah, I'm there. I'm uneasy because I'm like, man, this is like literally a shack, but like, we're cool and it's fine, whatever. And the thing is, there's no form of entertainment there, okay? No TV, no laptop. We're literally both just sitting there in the dark, okay? Which is fine, like, I guess, but at the same time, it's like, what are we doing? Sitting there chatting, talking about nothing, because there's nothing to talk about. We don't know each other, okay? So if I knew that there was gonna be no sort of entertainment here, I would have just had her come to my place. Like, it just, like, I feel like it wasn't me that overcomplicated things, but it was like maybe she oversimplified things, and things. I'm not a simple man, okay? I don't like these simple interactions. But more importantly, it's like, tell me these things before I get put in this position. All right. But anyways, we're talking about nothing, and then we start like getting into shenanigans. We exchange sloppy. That happens. But then when we're about to sleep together, that's when she's like, oh, like, hold up, wait. And I'm like, oh, I'm listening. She's like, Bryce, I want to wait. And I'm like, for one, this is just a hookup. And in my mind, I know it's just a hookup. So I'm like, okay, but like, wait for what? Like, what are we talking about? Okay. But I'm like, okay, cool. And then we go to sleep like in the same bed. But oh yeah, mind you, something about this bed, this is kind of random, but it was the loudest bed that I've ever been in my entire life. And the thing is, mind you, she did initiate this interaction, in bedroom athletics. So like, again, like the let's wait, it wasn't a big deal. Like, it wasn't like a lack of interest, like vibe I was getting. But the thing is also, usually when I get like, oh no, like, we mustn't, like, it's like too soon on the first link, usually they go crazy on the second link. Reason being is because whether they know this or not, usually it's a test. Like usually it's just a test to like be like, oh, like if you're a chill guy who's gonna be like, oh, you know, you don't want to sleep together right now, fine, whatever, and you just continue on with the link. Or if you're gonna be a weird guy who's gonna be like, what, you don't want to sleep with me? And then like pout about it in the corner for the rest of the link. I want to tell you, I swear to God, there is nothing more attractive to a woman than not sleeping with her. Okay, like they be eating it up every time. My theory is they're so used to men that are fiends that are constantly creeping for it, like constantly like, oh, you know, sleep with me, sleep with me, sleep with me. When they meet a guy who doesn't, who's like not on that type of timing, when it's just like, oh, you know, like we're just chill, we're chilling, they be eating it up, okay? Like not making the first move, I swear to God, it works every time. Now, mind you, again, like I'm handsome, so like that's a part of it, but at the same time, it's like the concept of it, like I see the vision. Also, the thing is, there's some very mentally ill women out there who think that like if you don't sleep with them, that means that you're not attracted to them, and then at that point, they become desperate for your approval, and then like try to creep on you a bit, okay? Now, mind you, that's kind of like a dark method to use, but at the same time, it's like, again, in action, like what are we really going to complain about here? If my manipulation tactic, right, is not sleeping with you and like that causes you to want to sleep with me, is that really my fault? Like, is that really evil of me? Because again, I'm actively not sleeping with you. Like you could very easily just be content with that, but most of the time they are not. Like literally, I'm recording this video right now and she like keeps like trying to sleep with me. I'm telling her I can't, and she keeps like, she's insisting more and more. Okay, the method, it's undefeated, it works. See, now after saying that, like she kind of like propositioned me 2 times. I was like, nah, like I gotta record this. So now like she's doing things to me as I'm recording this right now, as this message is like you see, she's not on the bed anymore. Like, what do you think she is? Okay, use your imagination. Actually, in case any YouTube like moderator people are watching, that was a complete joke. She was in the bathroom. That nothing was going on of any scandalous nature. But like, you see my point though. Anyways, yeah, you know, with that little, you know, me handling it well, like, oh, you know, I'm not gonna sleep with you, that's fine, whatever. I figured that, you know, the next link, we were going to go brazy. Like, that just made sense to me, okay? However, we did link again, and I think this time it was at my crib because I didn't want to go back to the shack. And this link was basically the same story, okay? It was, oh, you know, we're chilling, we're doing things, you know, now, you know, we start kissing, we start exchanging oral, but then when it's time, you know, the big moment to happen is, like, I want to wait. And again, it happens once more, and I'm like, all right, fine, that's cool. Then we link for a 3rd time, and then the same thing happens. And then it gets to a point where I'm like, what are we linking for? Like, what is our purpose in this life? Now, mind you, she had told me, she's like, you know, the first time we ever linked up, like, I literally just wanted to sleep with you. That was all I wanted. I was like, oh, okay. You know, like I take that in, and I'm like, I understand now maybe you have more of like an emotional investment in me, but I feel like since that's what you wanted, and that's what I wanted, and I didn't say that's what I wanted, but it's like, since that's what I wanted, why don't we just both like indulge in that? The same phenomenon would happen again and again and again. Okay, now mind you, it would always be a little frustrating in the moment, but at the same time, in general, it wasn't that big of a problem because I was linking with other people. Like, it's not like I didn't have access to like one I wanted to get to. It's just like now I'm with her and it's like, okay, I'm kind of wasting a link because every time we're supposed to link and every time we're supposed to get there, it's like now it's like, oh, like I want to wait. And it's like, what? Like, why are you here? Now, mind you, I was not leading this woman on whatsoever. Now, me, I'm a habitual leader on her. That's usually my go-to. But this one, like, I specifically, every time we would text, it would be like just a little bit of small talk, like, oh, how things going? And then boom, come over, right? And then like when she was over, we would hang out. There'd be nothing more. Like I wouldn't be, I mean, here's the thing. I'm a natural lover. Okay. So certain things come naturally to me, but I didn't think I was doing anything out of the ordinary. You know, casual, you know, grabbing of the hands, forehead kissing, cuddling, you know, things you do with your casual links, you know, like with your one night stands, except, you know, multiple nights. And there was never any sort of conversation about like, oh, you know, this is going to lead to something more, you know, something between us in the future. Like, yeah, like nothing like that ever took place. So I was just always very confused as to why, like, it seemed like we weren't on the same page as regards to like what it was. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I have this sneaky link who's sneaky linking incorrectly. Like they're not doing it the right way. So keep in mind, we never exceeded like the small talk level. Like I don't know anything about this woman's life. I never knew anything about her life. So again, like it's just very confusing that like the sneaky link wasn't sneaky linking, okay? But then eventually like she told me, like she asked me like, oh, like do you want to like go out somewhere and like do something? And I'm like, nah, like that's not really what I'm interested in. Basically, I made it clear to her if she was gonna see me, it was gonna be a link up. She's gonna be coming to the crib, I'm gonna be coming to her crib. And then, you know, she messaged me, she's like, oh, you know, that's like not really what I'm looking for. You know, I'm looking for, I don't know how she said, but she made it clear like she wasn't looking for something casual. And I'm like, oh, you know, we'll take it easy. You know, good luck with whatever you want to go find. Here's the thing, what she did really annoyed me because personally I have this policy and I feel like it applies to everyone, okay? If you approach somebody, right, and you come to them and you accept a certain energy or like you lead with a certain energy and then you want to change it, like that's kind of on you. Like that's your fault. Like, this is not the only time something like this has happened, okay? Where someone, they links with me, like they're pretty much my sneaky link, and then like later on they're like, oh, I want to go on dates, I want to go out, I want to do these kinds of things, and it's like, bruh, if that's what you wanted, you shouldn't have agreed to sneaky linking in the first place. If you allow someone to set the precedent, or you yourself set the precedent of like, oh, we're just linking, I'm just going to your crib, you're just going to mine, everything's fine, and then all of a sudden you want to start going out, you want to start going to events, you want to start going on dates, now you're weird, now you're the odd one because you're changing the status quo. I forgot, what do people, there's a certain like group on the internet that calls them like house dates or something like that. If you go on a house date as a first date, you've kind of forfeited your right to very reasonably ask to go outside the house. Like, you've made it clear that you're more willing to accept and sometimes initiate linking up with someone at their home. Okay. And that's why it was always very frustrating to me when I was single and someone like for like the first interaction, they want to go out, go somewhere, go on a date. Because then I'm like, at that point, if like we start going on dates and we're people who go out like that, now I'm weird if I say, oh, like I don't want to go out, I don't want to do this. That's why a lot of y'all don't understand how important the first link is, okay? And that's why if you're just trying to hook up with somebody, bruh, do not take them on a date. Like I can't emphasize that enough. Like that just, it makes no sense and it's never going to end well for you. Anyways, this girl makes it clear she does not just want to hook up. We go our separate ways, everything's fine, right? And a few months later, I get a text from her. She's like, oh, like, I'm ready to just start like linking up again. And I'm like, oh, you poor thing. You poor thing, okay? Because it was like, I feel like she had that first interaction with me being like, oh, I can do better than this situation. Like, I can go and like find a guy who like wants to date me, who I like want to date back, blah, 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 blah. But that's not what she found, okay? She went out there, she struck it on her own, and she completely failed, okay? And she came crawling back to me like, oh, like, let's just link up. It was a heartbreaking interaction. She simply was not good enough to get what she desired, okay, at this point in time. Just, again, very sad. However, of course I'm gonna link up with her at that point, like what? Like now, like I feel like I have to link up and like I have a thing to prove. Mind you, I know we haven't slept together, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe she sends us text, maybe now she's gonna be like more like proactive when it comes to that. But that's not what I'm thinking about. Okay, the concept I'm thinking about is like, oh, like you decided that you wanted to stop talking to me because you just wanted to link up. But look where you are, okay? I need to prove to her that she was right back to where she started, that she made no progress whatsoever. Now, mind you, I don't really know why I was on that kind of timing. Like, she was very nice. Like, she never really did anything mean. But, like, sometimes you just got to teach people a lesson. Well, anyways, I agree to the link. She comes over. We link. We do our normal, usual thing, okay? Same thing happens again. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. At this point, I just expect it to happen nearly every time. See, now that I'm telling this story back, I'm like, maybe she would link at my place just because she didn't want to sleep in that shack anymore. Like, I feel like that would make sense. Now, we're laying down, chilling, watching Black Mirror, right? And then in the middle of it, she's like, oh, can I use the bathroom? Like, I have to pee. And I'm like, oh yeah, go ahead. Now, mind you, bathroom in my room, okay? Not very far from where my bed is. So pretty much I know what's going on in there, if you know what I'm getting at, right? So she walks to the bathroom and I hear, brr, brr, brr. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe my mind's playing tricks on me. Maybe something like phone fell out of the pocket or something. Maybe I'm just hearing things, okay? I think I'm delusional. And then mind you, I also hear like cupboards like opening and closing, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like the soap is obviously like right like above the sink, like it's not hard to find. Got a hand towel right there, like again, like there shouldn't be any confusion. By the way, she ends up walking out, right? And then we're chilling some more, and then a bit later on she's like, yo, like I have to pee again, like can I go? And for one, I'm like, you're asking me for permission. Like if you want to use the bathroom, use the bathroom, right? But it's like, you're asking me for permission, why? But I'm like, yeah, like go ahead. She goes in there again, and again I hear brr, brr, brr. And now I'm like, I might not be tripping the way that I thought I was tripping, okay? But then again, like, it's like, I want to see the best in people. I'm like, there's no way she's going number 2 in my bathroom right now. Not that that would have been a problem. I'll get to that later. Anyway, she comes back out. Everything's cool. And I end up falling asleep. She ends up falling asleep. We end up both falling asleep, right? Then we wake up in the morning. And here's the thing. We both had class this morning. When we both wake up, she's like, oh, like I think we both woke up to like an alarm or something. Like I don't think it was a coincidence that we both woke up. Because again, we had class. I think we didn't have class together, but I think probably like at the same time. She's like, oh, like, can I use the bathroom? And I'm like, okay. Now, mind you, again, she's like, I have to pee. And I'm like, okay, go ahead. She goes in there again, and I hear, brr, brr, boo, boo, boo. And now at this point, I'm like, it's not deniable. Like she's absolutely going number 2 in my bathroom, but it's like I have to prove for myself. Like I have to smell this. But mind you, I can't just immediately go right in after her, right? Because then that would be suspicious, probably make things super awkward. Basically, we were both supposed to leave and go to class, right? It was clear that she wanted us to leave the building at the same time and probably like walk together for a little bit. No, That's not happening. She's trying to fool me into being into a situation where we're kind of like public, like being together. Now, mind you, obviously, like people aren't just gonna see us walking and think we're a couple, but it's like it's too close for my comfort. Again, I'm a very private person. I don't like people knowing anything about my life other than, you know, when I ramble about it on the internet. I don't want to risk anybody thinking it's my girl. Basically, I do some like BS where I'm like, oh, like, you know, I got to get my morning routine done, like blah, 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 blah. Mind you, at this point, I'm very clearly going to be late for class. Like, I think my class was like a 15-minute walk away, and it was like 5 minutes before class started. Basically, it's like spun some yarn, just told BS that I basically had to stay in my room for a bit. She ended up leaving. I'm like, thank God. I walk into the bathroom, and it smelled so bad, so bad. It was at that moment I knew I could never speak to her again, okay? Because here's the thing. It's not a problem that she went number 2, okay? I know the headline's going to be something that's kind of like, ooh, you know, I ghosted her because she went to the bathroom. That's not why, okay? The reason is she specifically told me that she was going pee all 3 times. So it's like, now you're a liar, okay? And it's if you're gonna lie about pooping when there's literal like proof, like I can go in and smell that you pooped in there. What else would you lie to me about, okay? And then it took me like a few months. I realized the cupboards, like her going through the cupboards, she was probably looking for some spray, okay? Now, mind you, I don't know what she was thinking because it's like, if I had spray, I would have heard the spray when she sprayed it. But the thing is, I didn't keep spray at the time because I'm like, nah, like I stand on business. Like if I'm gonna defecate, if I'm gonna go number 2, I'm gonna go number 2. I'm not gonna hide it from anybody, least of all myself. I mean, at the time I lived by myself, so there wasn't really anybody to hide it from. But like again, like I'm standing on it. It's just like, don't sit here and tell me that you're going to go number 1 when you're going number 2. Okay, as simple as that. And also, because it's kind of disrespectful to me, not only the lie, but it's like you think I'm foolish enough to believe that. And you did it 3 times. Why'd you have to go so much? Like, how about you just go in once and then finish the job? Also, it's irresponsible to not tell me that, like, that you're doing that, because what if I ate it from the back, okay, like afterwards? Like, what if things got hot and heavy? Well, like, what if I wasn't emotionally prepared for the fact that you had freshly gone number 2? Bluntly, there's just so much wrong with it, okay? Because here's the thing. If she would have told me, like, oh, I got to go number 2, I would have been like, oh, like, go ahead, whatever. I'm just going to sit here watching Black Mirror. It would have been fine. She could have finished the job, came out. Everything's fine. Women go to the bathroom. It's okay. I have no problem with that. But you're going to sit here and tell me that you're going number 1, that you're going pee, when it's very obvious that you're not. And again, you're going to do it 3 times. You're going to tell me the same lie 3 times to poop in my bathroom 3 times. And you're going to stink it up. And it's going to be loud. Mind you, I feel like she has to know that I heard the sounds. It's like, at this point, I think it's very clear. Like, I'm like, this is a weird individual. These interactions, I can't have them. Again, it's like very clear. I just want to hook up. But every time, like, we're going to hook up, she's like, oh, like, let's hook up. And then it's like, wait, you know, like, let's wait a second. You're not going to relationship me. That's not going to happen. You lied about pooping in my bathroom. Now this is when you get ghosted. Okay. Like, you can't stay on the roster anymore after this. You get kicked off the team. And that's the story. I hope y'all understand it, right? Like, I hope y'all understand, like, the vision, like, what I'm getting at. It's the deceit. It's the lies about, like, what you're doing with your body. Okay. Now, mind you, again, I could have been completely fine in a situation where I don't know if I'd consider that me getting, like, led on, but, like, in situations where I keep getting, like, oh, you know, we're going to hook up, but we're not going to hook up. We're going to hook up, but we're not going to hook up. I could live with that, okay? But you going number 2 in my bathroom after telling me that you're going to go number 1, that's unacceptable. It's simply unacceptable. Like, look me in my eyes and tell me, Bryce, I'm going to go number 2 in your bathroom. Simply not that hard, okay? Like, you know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, that is the story. Thank you for watching. And let me think. State of affairs, what's going on with my life? Oh my gosh, yesterday's video, how to pull women when they think you're weird and gay, that on Twitter, like, they're thinking about that one a lot. I mean, while they're like finding reasons to get mad about that. Like people are genuine. For one, I'm getting called, like, you know, like homophobic slurs, which is one thing. I always get called homophobic slurs. But like, they acted like that video was like a bad thing. They called it rage bait. And I'm like, how is that rage bait? I'm just saying people think I'm weird and gay. I'm helping others who also people think they're weird and gay to, you know, get into relationships, because people who are seen as weird and gay deserve relationships as well. Okay. Like, I don't know why the hate is. Like, at this point, I'm so obviously the hero and they're so obviously the villains. I don't know how they still got it confused. Now that they're on my tail on this platform, I think the manipulation tactics video is going to have to come soon. Like, it's very much going to be a thing that has to happen. And again, this is a shorter video, short little like story type video, because my girl's still here, and basically you know, I can't just sit around and yap for as much as I usually would. But the longer videos, they're going to come through. So I said something at the beginning of the video. The Q&A video is coming soon, probably in the next couple days. The thing is, at the end of the last video, I mentioned like, oh, do you guys have any Q&A questions? And I thought I wasn't going to get enough. That's why I said I was going to mention it at the beginning of the next video, which is this video. But the thing is, I actually got a lot of questions. So I feel like if I get a lot more questions, I'm going to have a lot of questions, and I'm going to answer as many as possible, like as long as they're not like weird, like creepy questions. Again, it's like you guys have questions for me. You're my supporters. I wouldn't be here without you. Like I definitely want to fulfill like your curiosities. But I do have a question for you. If you think it would be a better idea, like for you, the consumer, would you want the Q&A to be split into multiple videos or just one video? Not gonna lie, as I'm saying out loud, I think just one video, but if you think just one video is stupid, let me know. Again, I hope I'm not forgetting anything because I'm sort of tired and like very lightly sauced. So I hope I'm not forgetting anything like important. But again, if I forget, I'll just tell you tomorrow. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Everything I have to say, I'm so sorry. And I love you. Okay, have a great day, night, evening, whichever it is. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Moral of the story. Moral of the story, be honest, okay, within reason. Like in a situation like that, if she would have just told me, Bryce, I gotta go number 2, and then she went number 2, everything would have been fine, okay? But since she lied about it, told me she was going pee, and then ended up pooping, that's when, you know, that's when the problem started, and that's why she got ghosted, okay? Remember, honesty is the best policy sometimes, okay? Remember that sometimes. Anyways, again, thank you for watching.